Hi, this is the project demo for Smart Paper Summarizer. What this project is it summarizes educational papers for you in a very short and concise way. And don't want to exaggerate it, but let's just take this paper for example. This multi-page paper about computer vision and pedestrians on crosswalks. It will summarize this all in a sentence or two. It will tell you exactly what this is about in a sentence or two. So let's just quickly walk through the Jupyter Notebook because this splits up the individual parts of the whole entire process into different cells, right? But all of this whole process is done in the Python file, but we split it up here into Jupyter Notebook cells so that we can see each part individually, right? So I'm just gonna walk through it in a minute. So we get our imports, we create our large language model. So now we have this, we could ask it a question at any time and it would just be like asking ChatGPT a question. We get our PDF, we process it, format it, split it up into chunks. Then we use text embeddings, which I discuss it more in the README file in the actual GitHub repo. So if you're interested in that, you can see. And for the text embeddings, I use another OpenAI model. And then it's just this is an example right here, this one. And then we create a vector database to store the text embeddings. And then we query it so we get all of the relevant stuff that we need. And so then we create a prompt for the LLM, right? This sort of defines the structure of what I'm going to ask before I even ask what I'm about to ask and what ChatGPT needs to follow the rules, like what rules I have the structure. And this structure includes the context, which is so that's like the relevant chunks from the PDF. That's its context, right? Its context comes directly from the PDF about the question that I'm going to ask. And then of course there's a question which I'm going to ask about that test paper or that example paper, whatever I put into the model. And then I just create the final prompt. This is where I ask a question, and this is just a RAG chain equivalent. So, and then this is where I ask the questions for the question. So you can see here, if I above here I ask the question, what is the title, summary, publication date. Here I have all of those structures. So I have the title, the summary, the publication date. But for all of these questions, I'm asking another question. That's the way you could think of it. What is that question? It's this whole thing right here. So for the title, it's gonna give a description to the answer. It's gonna give a chunk from the actual PDF where it got that from, and then it's gonna give an explanation, a reasoning behind why it gave that answer. So for something like the title, it's pretty easy, but for something like the date and author, it can definitely find something from the PDF and give a reason as to why it gave you that answer. And then last but not least, we just put the final prompt with everything combined so far into ChatGPT, and we get a response back. This response is then formatted into a table using pandas, and that's pretty much it. So the actual implementation is in a Python file, and this is exactly the same. You could even see from the imports, this is the same as our Jupyter Notebook, except it is in a Python file, so it all runs line by line instead of in cells. So same thing, except one thing that we did need to do was use a temp file, because the PyPDF loader just gets mad if there's no like path to that file. So, and then I use a unique ID here. So basically this is just to avoid duplicates in the vector database. So if it's already seen like text before, it won't repeat it. And that's why I use UUID, which is just a unique ID for each text embedding. And then the rest is all just the same. It gets the text, split up the documents, create the vector, store the database, get the embeddings, create the model, prompt template, get the answer, to ask for questions for all these answers, format the document, and then format the last result into a table using pandas. So it's basically the same thing as a Jupyter Notebook. And then lastly, the Streamlit app, which is the front end part of this app. It has its own front end stuff, so I won't go into detail with this. This is just like creating titles or like stuff like that, creating parts on your page. But it just displays the PDF. That's the big part. It has error handling if you forgot to input an open API key or something like that, etc., etc. And at the end, of course, we basically start executing the functions.py with whatever text, whatever PDF that we're using, and the open API key. So once we have the API key and the PDF, it can then start executing the functions.py, what I was just showing. So it can start executing all of this. And then once it gets that answer back, it just displays it to the user. So now let's fire it up. Before I even do that, I'm gonna copy my API key because I'll need it. Let's do, you could use it. It's already deleted by the time I upload it, so yeah, don't try that. Let's start it up. So cd into my app. So now I'm in the app folder. I'll just do Streamlit run, and here we go. So inputting the API key, and then I'll just browse so I'll pick whatever file I want. And so I'm actually just gonna go to the code file for this, because why not? It's already here. So assets, test data, test paper PDF. So upload this. There is error handling, of course. If you don't upload something, it'll tell you. So we have our PDF here, and we're gonna generate our table. Should generate an answer. Just give it a second. That's taking longer than usual. And here we have it. So it's kind of crowded. Let's open this up. And so what is this paper about? Let's see. The paper provides a systematic review of pedestrian vehicle interactions at unsignaled crosswalks. And it gave us the answer, it gave us the source, and it gave us the reasoning. Let's see what the reasoning was. The summary is derived from the title. Well, of course, what's the reasoning for the title? Let's see that the title is explicitly mentioned in the citation provided. So you can see how, of course, something like the title, its reasoning is very clear, very straightforward. So that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.